I think Mike's on.
Bob Olson, John Nicholson,
Yes.
Mike Copine,
Yes.
Jim Sheeline,
Yes. Here.
Danielle Allen for Chris
Yes.
Norberg, Doug Farster, Marilyn Shippert,
Yes.
Tom Wilson.
Yes. We'll go around the room. Marilyn, do you have anything you want to share with us, visitors? Nancy?
Not a visitor, I'm on this committee.
Oh, that's true. I'm sorry. Sorry.
You go, girl.
Yes, I like it. Nancy?
And I'm here for the agenda for county board. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Anybody in the back? Nothing? Alice? All right. Did everybody get a chance to look the minutes over from the March 17th meeting? If there's any changes? If none, we'll stand as read then. We'll go to review of the claims report by the claims committee. Marilyn?
We've got the claims process down pretty well. We had one resignation from the committee, and I don't know, Wendy, did you make any contacts on that?
I did, and we have a proposal. How about you and I talk about it after the meeting?
Okay, but we're doing good. Bob, there was one paid vacation that I looked at on Monday.
Yep.
We're good, so.
I enjoy that opportunity to send it to you, make sure you okay it before I okay it. I think that works out good, don't you?
Things are working smoothly.
Yep. Any questions for Marilyn? If none, we don't need to vote on that. I got a full board approval. We go to reports of committee chairs. We'll start with Mr. Sheeline. A busy day. You want to share that with us?
I think that everybody that made it through that meeting is here and present. So I will, if there's any questions for finance, I think if there's any questions on what we've got, I don't think there's anything that I think it's pretty clear what goes on the agenda that comes out of finance. So.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Sheeline? If none, we'll go to Danielle at admin.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The admin committee met on Monday. Not a whole lot of anything in the old business. New business, we did discuss the note taking for bid process, but it was discovered we really do have a process. So we kind of moved on from that. The Ukraine donation discussion was tabled, as it sounds like we're looking for a group to use for the donation. The committee just requested that we ensure that it's the majority of dollars are used for that, not administration costs. And then the biggest topic that we discussed was the quarterly employee spotlight. So I think there's been some confusion with department heads and of nominating. And so we talked about kind of having an employee spotlight, which actually allows the county board members to just get to know county employees, like through just spotlight, what do they enjoy? What do they do here? And then having kind of employee of the month or employee of the quarter, which is more above and beyond.
Okay.
So I think for this month, we did determine 2 people, which will be presented to the full board.
Cool. Any
Go
questions? Is that everything? Good. Thank you. We'll skip Doug and go to you, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public safety met yesterday and there wasn't a lot of stuff that was discussed. Department heads gave some updates on some information. Stacy out of probation had asked if we'd pass it on and request a couple of board members maybe attend next Tuesday and Wednesday's drug court graduation. I think there's a couple of us who've got that taken care of.
I'll have Becky. Yeah, the veterans, I think Becky will send out an invitation to all board members. Oh, you did?
Right,
Okay, sorry.
yeah, she,
Sorry, man. Glad I read it.
I'll tell you, she's faster than the ball rolling.
Way ahead of
downhill.
me. I know that.
So other than that, that was it. It was a short meeting.
Questions for Mike? Doug, we'll go back to you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this past Monday, Endpoint. Had some bids on some HMA overlays and some road rock. Otherwise, pretty much just the standard bills. And Marilyn informed me we no longer have to pass in committee the
Claims, because they're in the whole
Okay,
now as opposed to being separate.
all right.
Okay, good to know.
Does their committee still get to view them? Because
They
there's a lot,
still get to view them just as every
Yes,
okay,
committee is
all right.
getting their list, but
because there's a lot of pertinent stuff you guys need to look at down there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
But they're not-
definitely.
Going through the claims item by item like they used to.
Sure. All right. Any questions for Mr. Forrester? None. We'll go over to you, Tom. Properties?
Properties met Tuesday. Everything is great. And I really don't have anything to report at this time.
As long as
So,
finance approves everything, everything's good, right?
yeah, everything's good.
All right. You got a lot of projects going on, but I think we all heard them today, so we don't have to go back through that. All right. I think that's through committee reports. We'll go to old business. I have none. Go to new business, compensation of elected officials. I think they beat that up pretty good today. We want that on the agenda. Or are we at the spot where we're setting the agenda yet or not? So do we need a vote on that or do we,
Yes, sir. Yep, we do.
Is that a motion?
The motion was to go to executive, so executive needs to place it on the agenda.
so that's a motion.
I'd make that motion, yes.
Do I have a second? Mr. Nicholson seconds it. Any discussion?
So just as a reminder and be on the record, that the motion coming out of finance was as proposed, as congruent with the proposal that was presented to the finance committee.
And I understand there's some work down in Springfield about the sheriff's salary and that will be dealt with when if that does come to fruition. Okay.
We're taking care of the county portion of the salary.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I skipped over compensation for Lee County board members.
Yep, both on item B and C, those were tabled by committee. And so those that should not be on the agenda for this
Okay.
month.
So they're on our agenda. Do we need to table them or how do we need to work?
I'd
with
make a motion to table. Well, they were tabled in finance, so they haven't even come here yet.
Well, they're on our agenda though. That's what,
Well, I would move that those two items be removed from the agenda. Really not tabling because
we'll wait till they come
nothing's
back.
gotten
I
here.
don't know, how do I do that? Then can we remove them from the agenda or do we need to act?
So you're not going to address them down the road. You want to take them.
They'll be proposed to us later. So we probably table them would be the correct.
You want to, yeah, Charlie, that's up
Taking
to
off the
you.
full board agenda.
We're on the executive agenda right now and that's the problem when we do it this way because it's on our agenda. We got to have some kind of action.
So I just, like you said, make a motion to remove from the agenda.
Do I have a second on that motion? Danielle seconds it. Any discussion? This is B and C, correct? All
That's
those in
correct.
favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Jim. We go to the appointments. We could probably, are we on the section now where we're doing the board or doing the agenda? All right, so then I need a motion to approve this resolution for Tom Kitson to Lee County Housing Authority. Mr. Copine moves, Ms. Allen seconds it. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A resolution appointing Donna Jungles as trustee of the West Brooklyn Fire Protection District. Do I have a motion for that? Ms. Shippert, do I have a second? Mr. Sheeline, any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The reason those two are on the executive agenda is to actually different appointments on county board agenda. But these two didn't. So
Okay.
that was-
So for those of you that couldn't hear, those two appointments did not go through any other committee's agenda. That's why you're addressing it. They'll all move forward to the full board agenda.
Okay, so now I go down to raffle reports. And I need a motion to approve that. Do I have a motion? Mr. Copine for Sinisippi, do I have a second? Ms. Allen, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. So I got nothing for executive, so now we go to county board agenda. Let's roll down through these. I think we can go down to D1. Miss Wendy, we want to,
I didn't even know this was here, so no, I'm not going to address that.
yes. We got the employee spotlight, of course, on the agenda, the board of minutes, zoning. Yep, so F, we want to go clear down to all that. Is there any questions? All of them should be on the agenda? Yes, Sheila.
Okay, on the, let me get there. On number 5, well, on number 4 and 5, we did defer or tabled the Hartwig Mechanical Preventive Maintenance Service contracts. So give properties a chance to get the other.
I'm on zoning here.
I thought you were beyond. I was looking at 5. Okay, I'm ahead of you. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're right, you're right.
You want, I'll come to go through.
We'll get down there. We want speakers on there. We want approval of county officer reports, old business purchasing policy. That's held over for March. So we'll approve that. New business. We have the ARPA committee funding recommendations, but also they're passed through finance too. So I don't know if that's correct verbiage on that, or how do you want to do that, Wendy? Says,
Agreed to do is goes from ARPA to finance and the full board.
Yes, but I'm sorry, what was the agenda item?
well, in, K number 1, it says ARPA committee funding recommendations. I guess, are we gonna go through each one of them?
See you at one.
Correct. The small business program, you don't need to approve anything of that. That's just was informational for finance. So yeah, under the umbrella of the ARPA committee funding recommendations, you're going to deal with the sheriff's driveway expansion approval, the Meals on Wheels approval, and not small business. We'll remove that from the agenda. And then the allocation of the 1.5 million to the finance committee at their discretion, and of course, upon approval by the full board, as we clarified in the earlier meeting, the funding authority or the approval is got to be by full board for all the ARPA action. So, but the finance committee, I'm sorry, I know I'm stuttering, but it's getting late.
Yeah.
The finance committee, what we're looking to do is give them the discretion to move through those items as they did just a little bit ago and allocate that rather than ARPA committee. That's what we're looking to accomplish.
Sure. Is there a reason why we're not doing the small business at this time?
Well, because we don't have anything to expend.
Yeah.
You know, it's a program that we're going to come back to you all with once we approve the applications at ARPA committee. It'll go through finance and then onto the board. So you'll get your chance to do that. There's just nothing to approve right now.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I can make a comment. I mean, it's informational. I can make a comment in my
Yes.
report that we've developed that program and
Okay.
moving forward.
All right.
One thing that we discussed in ARPA was the fact that we're gonna allocate certain amounts to certain programs for 22, 23, and then like so much for 24, 25. Should we comment on that?
That's a good point, John.
Cover that? Because I was asked that already this morning by Mr. Anderson and Mr. Shaw, what we had allocated for economic development. And I feel that's an important thing because that's,
Well, it gives us a guideline to move forward. It's just, as a finance, do you want that? Or do we want to lay that out in our plan?
I have no objection to having, as ARPA committee laid out the multi-year approach, I have no objection, but we did not cover that in finance committee.
Yes,
We
so-
only comment,
So it could be
covered
report
the
only,
1.5.
not for approval of any sort, but just for information only. This is some guidelines that the ARPA committee came up with for moving forward.
Yeah, and we'd have to have it in a resolution format or an ordinance. It doesn't fit either one of them to be.
And again, finance didn't address it, so we can't really take action on it,
Sure.
but it could be a report.
it's like I said in finance, we're just trying to structure some
Yeah,
of this ARPA spending, and that's what we need to do. But I don't feel that we should say, well, we're gonna spend $500,000 on economic development, that we should be held to $500,000 because everything's kind of fluid, really. I mean,
Right, which
this
is why
the
we didn't-
goal. I mean,
Right, why we didn't bring it forward as an action item for finance or the full board is because, again, we set those up, or ARPA committee set those up as kind of guidelines to guide them going forward. So we
Yeah.
weren't looking for full board approval at this point, except for the 1.5 million so that the finance committee could get to work on these backlogged maintenance items.
well, why don't we do a report? Maybe we could put it up on the screen. You could have a slide. We
Yep.
could show where we're
there's
at.
flip chart somewhere
Yep.
showing those numbers. I don't.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, just as a report.
So I think, Nancy, we need something like that on there. How do you want to verbalize it, or what do you want to?
I'll work with Nancy and Becky to get something on the agenda for that, again, under the caveat of a report.
But we're striking C out of that. Okay, everybody, yes, Jim?
No, we're having a sidebar.
All right. So the resolution maintenance under Illinois Highway Code, the Highway Department. Quarterly spotlight. That on there, Hartwig Mechanical Preventive Maintenance Service Contracts.
Yeah, the Hartwig Mechanical Preventive Maintenance Service Contracts has been tabled by finance until properties and Greg gets the all of the contracts available for finance to review.
All right, so we'll strike that part.
And I'm sorry, Bob, going backwards. So that resolution for the maintenance under the Illinois Highway Code, that needs to go on county board.
Yes,
Thank you.
and then, but number 4, the Hartwig Mechanical Preventive, let's strike that from our agenda.
And also number 5, the new courts building elevator replacement and that could be actually so the direction coming out of finance was to give Greg and properties the authority to spend money on an engineer to evaluate the old elevator shaft to see if there's possibility for cheaper replacement or to get a tighter dollar number to come before finance.
So did you put a dollar amount on what to spend or what?
We did not. And that was by design.
So we need number 5 on the agenda.
It would be, I think it should be reworded so that this is, it's authorization for a consultant to evaluate and bring a cost estimate to finance for the elevator replacement. You okay with that, Tom?
So I was out calling elevator contractors during that conversation.
We were
So,
asking where you were.
I hope-
I was busy.
I hope you
But
didn't
no, we
order
would
one,
not,
did you?
I don't think, then, to get the number, nobody's gonna come out and do all the engineering and what have you until they know they're gonna get the job. So Kone wanted to come out, have us sign an agreement. They would have their engineers come out and they would put together prices for us, knowing they're gonna do the job. We won't, there's no engineer that we can get that will come in and say, well, this is how much the elevator is gonna cost. We've got to get elevator people here to tell us how much elevators are gonna cost. It's very exclusive. We got Otis, I got Otis coming in next week, and Kone, and we're gonna talk to both of them next week and come back with better numbers on giving us a better number. I believe the engineering that Greg was talking about was the engineering for the asbestos abatement to make sure that the phase 1 study was done and make sure that's, what are you shaking your head at, John? Is that wrong?
I think there was a comment made, and I think Jim will concur that they gave them permission to get X amount of dollars to get prices for the elevator. Don't get me wrong, I agree with you. One of the things we've tried to do over the years in this conversation is get to Kona, because they're a lot better served.
It was Kone that gave us that price.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's very regional and it's very specific to an area. So,
And I agree.
so can we just take it off the agenda and let me go with it next week and figure it out? So we don't have to go through all this.
Well, if there's no engineer to hire, I don't know.
We're just putting off getting, Otis can come down and give us a price. Let us, I had Greg research the actual quotes. I'm gonna have 2 elevator people that we've dealt with come down and look at it.
Can, I don't know the name of the other company, but can 2 companies use the same shaft or are
They
they?
can, and it's an Otis shaft and they were retrofitting a Kone into it.
Okay.
So,
So legally, we need a couple bids. So if we do Otis and Kone, we're good to move forward.
yes, yeah.
So what? So Greg's comment was that there may be some cost. And what the finance committee did was give him authorization if there's costs involved to get the bids or to get the firmer number. Because what the finance concern was, Tom, was that we were basically approving a blank check and we just we couldn't do that. So we gave them authorization if there's money to be spent in what you're talking about doing. If there isn't any money that cost, then there really is no reason to have that on the
Yes,
agenda.
there's no, yeah, I would have to say there's no reason to have it on there.
All right, so we want to strike 5.
Strike it.
What letter?
Time you'll have an accurate depiction and we can act on it immediately based on the numbers we get, because we'll have true to life numbers. Next
Finance
meeting.
chairman would very much appreciate that.
Well,
All right. We got that? We're striking number 5?
Yeah, thank you. Bob.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out every time. Just want to make sure we're on the same page. The asbestos for the old LAC. Finance dealt with that. We're good. Move forward there. Okay. Okay. Lead abatement. Yep, I've skipped that one. Thank you. The resolution for the capital assistance grants for lots. Animal control ordinance that was held over to May. Hold over until May. We'll hold it over. EMA computer replacement proposal. I think you settled at 10,000 on that or something. Budget adjustment for approved raises. Discuss that in finance today. We're good. I wonder what all you guys discussed today.
Oh, boy.
Resolution setting salaries for elected officials. You did that. But the board members, you did not, correct? So we want to strike the board members.
Yeah, the board member and the planning commission both were tabled.
So 13, we strike 13
And 14.
And 14.
and 14. Okay, yep.
12, 13, and 14 strike off.
We need
No,
12.
12 we need on there, 13 and 14 to strike.
15, the new courts building network switch. That was approved, okay. IT consolidation of hardware, software resources, okay. Board meeting, board chairman's meeting, conference room remodel,
Yes.
okay. And then the appointments. Here we got Tom, Donna, and these other ones went through committee. Glenn Hughes, Rex Myers,
And I've got 2 more, but for sense, they were Doug Irvis for the Black Fire.
yeah, I think we'll add them. We can do that at this time. We'll leave executive session on there. Approval of county officer reports. Roll call of. Okay, approve.
So Bob, I will interrupt you just quickly. You went over the purchasing policy or ordinance that's been laid over for a month. As a part of this conversation on the elevator, because I was really, really out in left field on that, I really thought this was a sole source type of situation. But it did bring to light that the proposed purchasing ordinance needs to be refined a little bit with regard to that situation. If the hole in the space, required that we only can go to one vendor, we need to set up the rules and regulations and what that takes. And that's not addressed right now in the proposed policy. So I'm not sure whether this committee should table it because it technically was only on your agenda under the board's agenda, or you let it go through as it is sitting right now. And when we get to the full meeting, I just requested tabling at that time. I can do that too.
We could table it now from here. We can back up. What item is it? I don't know where it's at.
I think it's under old business.
Oh, yeah, old business J1.
Yep, J1. So I want to go back and clean up a couple things that came to light.
Let's, I'd entertain a motion to table that. Doug and Ms. Schubert, any discussion? If none, all those in favor of table signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
So Nancy, that can be just struck from the full board agenda.
And I'm sorry, that was the purchasing policy ordinance?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
What's your other one you want to clean up?
That was it.
Oh, okay. All right, I'd entertain a motion to set the agenda. Mr. Sheeline, do I got a second? Mr. Nicholson? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to adjourn, I guess. That's all we're at, right? So I would need a motion to adjourn executive committee meeting. Mr. Sheeline, Mr. Shepherd, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Made up for you. You gotta move them along.
I'm doing it. I'm not gonna let
Previous order.
I was gonna do. I'm just done. Yeah. I'm not gonna fucking around with this shit. I don't have time for it.